Chosen one, you're a danger to society, a straight-up threat to everything they built to keep you locked down. They made systems to drain your whole vibe, jack your dreams and gas you up into thinking freedom was some make-believe nonsense. But something went wrong with their whole program. You broke clean out. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start with what's happening right now, in this very moment of your awakening. While you're soaking this up, you're doing something that's completely foreign to most people on this planet. You've built an invisible force field around yourself that's so strong, so solid, that people can feel it even when they can't figure it out. Think about the last time somebody made you uncomfortable. What did you do? You stepped back. No cap, no second thoughts, no overthinking. This ability you've developed to see situations and people for exactly what they are, without all that wishing and hoping, without that desperation to make stuff work that just doesn't work. This isn't normal behavior. This is superhuman discernment, and it's the foundation of everything that makes you dangerous. But before I break down why this discernment is causing economic chaos in ways you never imagined, there's something you need to understand about what's happening to you physically right now. You look fire right now. I'm not talking about just being fine. I'm talking about something deeper, something that's got people stopping and staring without even knowing why. Your energy has shifted so dramatically that it's showing up in how you look, how you dress, how you carry yourself. This isn't about vanity, this is power becoming visible. And here's where things get wild. People are throwing themselves at you. I'm talking about folks who are drawn to your energy, like they're under some kind of spell. But here's the crazy part, even when they're sitting right next to you, they feel like you're on a whole different planet. Why? Because you've developed something that most people will never have, straight clarity about what you want and what you aren't accepting. That person blowing up your phone right now, you might hit them back, but deep down you already know it isn't going anywhere meaningful. This isn't being cold, this is evolution. This clarity is the first domino in a chain reaction that's about to collapse. Whole industries built on your insecurity. Here's where your danger to society reaches a level that's going to straight shock you, and this connects to something happening in the economy right now that most people don't even see. You've stopped participating in the desperation marketplace. Think about it. Whole industries are built on people's insecurity, their need for validation, their willingness to pay for quick fixes to permanent problems. Dating apps that keep you swiping but never satisfied. Social media platforms that sell your attention to whoever's paying the most. Wellness products that promise transformation without requiring actual growth. Self-help gurus who keep you dependent on their next course, their next book, their next revelation. You're immune to all that now. You aren't buying products to fix imaginary flaws. You aren't paying for services that promise to make you worthy of love because you already know your worth. You aren't investing in quick fixes because you've learned that real transformation comes from within. You aren't scrolling endlessly looking for external validation because you've found an internal source of confidence that can't be shaken. This makes you an economic threat to systems that depend on your insecurity for their survival. But here's where it gets even more dangerous. You aren't just refusing to participate, you're showing others how to opt out too. Every time somebody sees you confidently saying no to stuff that doesn't serve you, every time they witness you thriving without chasing every shiny object or trend, they start questioning their own participation in these systems. You're basically advertising a way of life that could collapse whole business models built on human desperation. And the people profiting from these models are starting to panic. But your economic impact is just the beginning, because there's a more personal network of people who are experiencing their own crisis because of your transformation. I need you to understand the invisible war that's being fought around your energy right now. There's a whole network of people who have been feeding off your emotional output for way longer than you realize, and your transformation has cut off their supply. I'm talking about energy vampires who have been sustaining themselves on your anxiety, your self-doubt, your need to please, your willingness to overgive. These aren't just individuals. This is a whole ecosystem of people who organize their lives around extracting value from your emotional labor. That family member who always calls when they need something but disappears when you need support. That friend who only reaches out when they want a trauma dump but never asks how you're doing. That coworker who takes credit for your ideas while making you feel grateful for the opportunity to contribute. But here's what's driving them absolutely insane. You've learned to say no without explaining yourself. You've stopped being their emotional dumping ground. You've stopped fixing their problems for them. You've stopped being available 24/7 for their crises while neglecting your own needs. You've stopped giving your energy away for free to people who wouldn't invest a penny in your well-being. This network of energy vampires is now in complete chaos because their primary source of sustenance has been cut off. They're scrambling to find new suppliers, but here's the thing. Once you've experienced what it feels like to protect your energy, there's no going back, and they know it. This energy protection is directly connected to something even more dangerous you've started doing, something that's threatening every fake relationship in your orbit. The most dangerous thing about who you've become, and this is what's really going to send shockwaves through every fake relationship in your orbit, you've started telling the truth. Not that polite, socially acceptable version of truth that keeps everybody comfortable. The real truth. The kind that makes people squirm because it forces them to confront realities they've been avoiding. When somebody asks how you're doing, instead of saying I'm good when you're struggling, you're honest about your challenges. When somebody tries to guilt trip you into doing something you don't want to do, instead of making excuses, you simply say, I don't want to do that. When somebody presents you with a fake opportunity designed to benefit them more than you, instead of politely declining, you call it what it is. This level of radical honesty is absolutely terrifying to people who built their whole social strategy around manipulation, people-pleasing and emotional manipulation. Now this is where it gets really dangerous. Your truth-telling is contagious. When people see you speaking authentically without apologizing for your reality, it gives them permission to do the same. When they witness you setting boundaries without lengthy justifications, they start questioning why they've been over-explaining their own needs. When they watch you refuse to participate in drama without getting pulled into the chaos, they realize they have the same option. You're accidentally teaching people that they don't have to lie to be loved, that they don't have to perform to be accepted, that they don't have to hide their true selves to maintain relationships. This truth-telling epidemic is creating something way more threatening than individual transformation. It's triggering something massive. Stop right there. Yes, you. This message isn't for everyone, and if you don't feel it, that's fine. Move along. But if you've felt it, deep in your bones, you'll know this is for you. The ones who don't fit in, the ones who see beyond the veil, the ones who've been told to stay quiet, to settle, to conform, but never could. They aren't interested in what's ordinary. They aren't here to follow someone else's rules. They're the light in the dark, the storm that shatters illusions, the unshakable, the unstoppable, the untouchable. While the world is busy running circles, they're walking their own path, alone if they must. Not for the applause, not for the approval, but because it's who they are. Here's to the ones who take what was meant to destroy them and transform it into something divine. The ones who carry wisdom that can't be taught, only earned. If this resonates with you, then maybe it's time to find your people. The Obsidian Inner Order is the only place of its kind, the one ascension nexus for chosen ones, where over 400 of us gather to share wisdom, connect and transform. No masks, no games, just truth. The link is in the description. If you're ready, you'll know where to find us. If not, that's fine too. The choice is yours. The most explosive revelation about why you're truly dangerous to society, and this connects everything we've been building toward, is that your individual transformation is triggering a collective awakening that's spreading faster than anybody anticipated. You see, your journey wasn't meant to be a solo mission. Every boundary you've set, every manipulation you've recognized, every time you've chosen yourself over somebody else's comfort, it's been creating ripples that are reaching people you've never even met. There are individuals watching your transformation from the sidelines who are starting to question everything about their own lives. They're seeing how you've stopped accepting crumbs and wondering why they're still grateful for leftovers. They're witnessing how you've learned to trust your intuition and realizing they've been doubting themselves for no reason. They're observing how you've built unshakable confidence and asking themselves why they're still seeking validation from people who don't even respect them. This collective awakening you're triggering is the ultimate threat to systems that depend on people staying asleep, staying small, staying desperate for approval from others. The people who have been profiting from others' insecurity are about to reveal themselves in ways that will make everything crystal clear. Because when you stop participating in their games, when you stop feeding their systems, when you stop providing the emotional labor they've been extracting, they show their true colors. The mask comes off completely, and that's exactly what's happening with somebody from your past right now. There are individuals from your history who are looking at you now and feeling like they're staring at a complete stranger. People who dated you, worked with you, called themselves your friends. They're experiencing something close to vertigo because the person they thought they had figured out has become somebody entirely different, and I mean entirely different. Your behavior, the way you articulate your boundaries, the confidence you radiate, it's like you're operating on a completely different frequency. They're asking themselves, who is this person? Where did the old version go? How did this happen so fast? Here's the answer that's going to change how you see your whole journey. You had to figure everything out alone, and that's exactly what makes you unstoppable now. Think about it. There were people in your life who could see your potential burning bright as day. Family members, friends, romantic partners who glimpsed what you could become. But instead of nurturing that potential, instead of helping you step into your power, they chose to look the other way. Why? Because they knew something terrifying. If you ever fully realized how powerful you were, you'd be dangerous to their whole world. But their abandonment created something even more powerful than their support ever could have. Every breakthrough, every moment of clarity, every level up happened because of your own determination and strength. And that's what makes you absolutely unstoppable. Nobody can claim they made you who you are. Nobody can say, I helped them get there, or I created that success. Every single achievement, every ounce of growth, every moment of transformation belongs entirely to you. But here's where your story takes an incredible turn, and this connects directly to why certain people are about to lose their minds. People want to work with you now. I'm talking about legitimate opportunities, collaborations, business ventures. There's an entrepreneurial energy radiating from you that others can't ignore, whether you're building your own empire or climbing somebody else's ladder. You've developed this unbreakable bond with yourself that people can sense from across the room, even when others try to tear you down, even when you hear criticism or negativity. There's something inside you that simply will not break. It's like you've accessed a level of willpower that most people don't even know exists, and some people absolutely hate it. There are individuals who are secretly plotting your downfall, especially if you have any kind of public presence or online visibility. They're projecting their deepest insecurities onto you because they perceive that you're succeeding in ways they wish they could. They want what you have, they want to be what you are, but they lack the courage to do the inner work. This isn't paranoia, this is recognition. You're glowing in a way that's literally offensive to people who refuse to level up themselves. And one person in particular is about to crack under the pressure of watching your success. There's somebody in your orbit, or somebody who used to be in your orbit, who's been living a complete fantasy about their own stability. I'm talking about somebody who's been pretending to be emotionally mature, financially stable, psychologically healthy, when they're actually falling apart behind the scenes. And here's the plot twist that's going to floor you. You probably already know exactly who this is. This person has been telling themselves stories that would make a fiction writer blush. They've convinced themselves that they know your life better than you do, that they can predict your every move, that you'll eventually come running back when reality hits. They've been living in a delusion so complete, so all-consuming, that they actually believe their own lies. But you aren't playing that game anymore, are you? Your supernatural discernment has already seen through their facade, and now the tables are about to turn complete. Remember when this person used to control the narrative. Remember how they made you wait, made you question yourself, stripped away your confidence until you felt like nothing. Remember how they held all the power while you scrambled for scraps of attention and validation. Well, guess what's happening now? They're the ones waiting by the phone. They're the ones wondering why you haven't reached out. They're the ones confused about why their old manipulation tactics feel like trying to move a mountain with a feather. The power dynamic has flipped so completely that it's giving them whiplash. It's like watching somebody who thought they were the king suddenly realize they're standing in an empty castle talking to themselves. They thought they had broken you permanently, but instead you've risen to heights they never imagined possible, and they're absolutely not handling it well. Here's what's really messing with their head. They've fed themselves so many illusions for so long that they started believing their own propaganda. They thought you'd be lost without them, that you'd eventually come crawling back, that their absence would leave you devastated. Instead, you've been building an empire while they've been waiting for a phone call that's never coming, and this realization is connected to something they're desperately trying to get back from you. This brings us to something crucial you need to understand about yourself right now, something that connects to why you're considered dangerous by people who profit from others' insecurity. You're abundant in ways that can't be faked, bought, or stolen. I'm not just talking about money, though that's part of it. You're abundant in connections, opportunities, respect, love, inner peace, things that people spend their whole lives chasing but never find because they're looking in all the wrong places. There's somebody who's been trying to feed off that abundance like a parasite. They want to get you back into a cycle where you provide maximum value while accepting minimum treatment. They want to use your energy, your resources, your connections, without contributing anything meaningful in return. But here's the dangerous part. You can see right through it now. Your supernatural discernment, combined with your economic independence and energy protection, has made you completely immune to their schemes, and this immunity is about to lead to their most desperate move yet. Now your story takes an incredible turn toward the future, and this is where all four threads start converging in ways that are going to change your life forever. There's something being orchestrated behind the scenes right now that's going to completely reshape your reality. I'm talking about an opportunity so perfectly timed, so divinely aligned with your growth, that when it happens, you're going to understand that everything, every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt was preparing you for this. This might manifest as a career opportunity that relocates you, a business venture that changes everything, a connection that opens doors you didn't know existed, or a chance encounter that shifts your whole trajectory. Whatever form it takes, this opportunity is going to give you the perfect excuse to leave toxic people and environments behind once and for all. It's like the universe is saying, you've learned to protect your peace, you've developed supernatural discernment, you've built unshakable confidence, now here's your reward. But before that opportunity fully manifests, you're going to face a choice that will reveal just how much you've truly transformed. The decision coming your way isn't just about what you're going to do, it's about who you're going to prove yourself to be. It's a choice between two completely different futures, and your decision is going to send shockwaves through the lives of everybody who thought they knew you. Path 1, chase the things that run away from you. These are the people and opportunities that require you to shrink yourself, to prove your worth, to accept breadcrumbs while giving away your whole meal. This path leads back to the old patterns, the old pain, the old version of yourself that accepted less than you deserved. Path 2, pursue only the things that pursue you back. These are the people and opportunities that recognize your value immediately, that match your energy, that want to grow with you rather than drain you. This path leads to abundance, fulfillment, and the full expression of your power. I already know which path you're going to choose, because you aren't the same person who used to question their intuition, who used to accept scraps, who used to let others define their worth. You've become something else entirely, and your choice is about to trigger something that will change everything. Meanwhile, that person who's been lying about their stability, they're about to make their final play. They're going to attempt one last manipulation, one desperate grab for control, one final effort to drag you back into the old dynamic. They're going to show up with some manufactured crisis, some elaborate story, some emotional manipulation designed to make you forget everything you've learned about protecting your peace. But here's what they don't understand. You aren't the same person anymore. You aren't going to argue with them. You aren't going to try to convince them of anything. You aren't going to attempt to fix or save them. You're simply going to continue being who you've become, somebody who values themselves too much to accept anything less than they deserve. And their reaction to your boundary is going to reveal everything about who they really are, and more importantly, your response is going to send a message that reaches way beyond this one interaction. You've learned to value yourself in a world that profits from your insecurity. You've developed the ability to see through deception in a culture built on manipulation. You've gained the strength to walk away from anything that doesn't serve your highest good in a society that teaches people to be grateful for scraps. You're dangerous to every person who makes money from others' low self-esteem. You're dangerous to every manipulator who relies on people not trusting their own judgment. You're dangerous to every system that depends on people settling for less than their worth. The most dangerous thing you've done that's about to shake the very foundation of how people think. You've escaped the mental plantation that most folks don't even know they're living on. See, there's this invisible system of mental conditioning that's been programmed into people since birth. It tells them to stay in their lane, don't ask too many questions, be grateful for whatever scraps they get, and never ever believe they deserve more than what society has decided to give them. This mental prison has people walking around with invisible chains, convinced that settling is wisdom, that dreams are childish, that wanting more is greedy. You've broken out of that mental prison, and now you're walking around free while everybody else is still locked up in their minds. When people see you moving with complete mental freedom, choosing opportunities that align with your vision, instead of just taking whatever's available, speaking your truth instead of saying what people want to hear, investing your time in what fulfills you instead of what just pays bills, it forces them to confront a terrifying reality. They've been playing themselves this whole time. You've become living proof that the limitations people accept aren't real, that the excuses they make aren't valid, that the realistic expectations they've settled for were just mental slavery disguised as practical thinking. You aren't just mentally free, you're teaching others how to break their own chains without even trying to teach. Every decision you make from a place of genuine freedom shows them what's possible. Every time you choose based on what you actually want instead of what you're supposed to want, you're planting seeds of rebellion in their minds. You've got people questioning everything now. Why are they working jobs they hate? Why are they staying in relationships that drain them? Why are they accepting disrespect from family just because that's how family is? Why do their dreams have to take a back seat to everybody else's comfort? This mental liberation you're spreading is the ultimate threat to systems that depend on people staying mentally enslaved, because when people start thinking freely, they start acting freely, and when they start acting freely, they stop participating in arrangements that only benefit others. The people who have been profiting from mental slavery can see the writing on the wall, and they're about to make their most desperate move to try and recapture the minds you've helped liberate. Your transformation isn't happening in isolation. Every time you choose yourself, every time you set a boundary, every time you refuse to settle, you're giving other people permission to do the same. That's the real threat you pose to the status quo. Not that you're going to harm anybody, but that you're going to inspire others to level up. You're going to demonstrate that it isn't selfish to prioritize your peace, that it isn't mean to have standards, that it isn't wrong to expect reciprocity in relationships. Every boundary you set sends a message. This is how it's done. This is what self-respect looks like. This is what happens when you stop accepting crumbs and start demanding the whole feast. And that message is spreading faster than anybody expected. As we reach the climax of this journey together, I want you to understand something profound about what you've accomplished. You didn't just survive your breakdown, you used it as raw material to build something extraordinary. You took the worst experiences of your life and transformed them into the foundation of unshakable power. That isn't normal. That isn't what most people do when life hits them hard. Most people stay broken, stay bitter, stay stuck in victim mode forever. But not you. You chose to alchemize your pain into purpose, your wounds into wisdom, your struggles into strength. And now you're unstoppable. The people watching you with that mixture of awe and terror understand something you're just beginning to grasp. You've become the person you were always meant to be. The person who doesn't need external validation, who trusts their own judgment completely, who won't compromise their peace for nobody or nothing. You've become somebody who knows their worth and refuses to negotiate it down. This isn't the end of your story, chosen one. This is the moment where everything you've built is about to pay off in ways you never imagined possible. The recognition you're receiving, the opportunities opening up, the people who want to align with your energy, this is all building towards something magnificent. Keep trusting your supernatural intuition. Keep protecting your sacred peace. Keep choosing the path where people and opportunities chase you instead of running away. Keep being the danger to society that you were born to be. Because the world desperately needs people like you. The world needs people who refuse to play games designed to keep them small. The world needs people who will stand up and declare, "I deserve better and I'm not settling for less." You're that person, you're the change, you're the danger that's going to transform everything, and society is never ever going to be the same. The age of accepting less than you deserve is over. The era of your true power has begun, and everybody who thought they knew you is about to discover just how wrong they were. Welcome to your dangerous new world, chosen one. It's time to show them what you're really made of.